This video is part of the SuperSmall Expert Spotlight, recorded live at AI House on December 18th. In this workshop, SuperSmall co-founder David Niu focuses on one of the most critical stages of building a business, turning a validated idea into real revenue through effective pricing, packaging, and sales. In this section, we focus on pricing and the concept of anchoring, how the first number a customer sees shapes their perception of value and influences every decision that follows.
Now, there are two main types of sales in this world, and there's implications to it. On one hand, you have transactional sales, broadly speaking. Now, these are quicker decisions, right? Like, this example is like you buy candy or a drink or something. They're lower price, and then the buyer, it's a quicker decision. If they make a mistake, the consequences are low. They're not going to get fired. Right? So you're at the Met Market, you're like, should I buy that cookie or should I buy the scone, right? It's like, not a big deal. So that's transactional sales. On the other hand, you have consultative sales. Now, these are longer sales cycles. In the government, it could take years, right? They're higher price points, so it requires budgeting and planning on your customer's behalf. And if they make a mistake, they can get fired. Right? So the consequences are big. So that's why you're thinking like, why do we have to be SOC compliant? Why are they doing all these tests? Is because there's a lot at stake for them. So we're going to talk about some pricing psychology. Now, we're going to do something fun here, and it's the holidays. New Year's coming, so we have a drink menu for those people who go out and like to have a cocktail. So take a look at this drink menu. Starlight Fizz, $18. Midnight Mule, $12. Golden Hour Old Fashioned, $24. Ruby Red Martini, $16. Sapphire Collins, $14. Emerald Isle Elixir, $42. Amber Glow Sazerac, $30. And Citrus Breeze is at $10. So I'm curious, which drink do you think would be the most popular on this menu, and why? Yeah, okay. All right, so let me go to the next menu. So, boom. Same menu, but we have a special going on. We have the Celebrity Louis XIII shot for $300. Now, when you look at this menu, what do you think is going to be the most popular drink and why? Okay, so this is exactly right. It's about price anchoring. And I learned this when I went to this talk where there's a consultant, especially in the F&B industry. So he would go in and talk to these restaurants, and the first thing he would look at is their drink menu, because that's where the margin is on the drinks, and it's quick to make, right? And he would look at their pricing menu and see like, well, let's see, do I have one that compares them? Okay, side by side. And he'll look at them, and he'll be like, well, what's your average price, what's your highest, and what's your lowest? And exactly like what you're talking about, people look at that anchor at the top and that anchor at the bottom. And what he recommended is they put some higher price items and then like a super high price one, the celebrity shot, right? And what that did was it had this anchoring effect, and immediately their price average per drink ticket went up because people were buying the more expensive drink. And then every now and then, you would have a bunch of like drunk bachelor or bachelorettes coming in, and they say like, or they got a promotion, hey, let's do a round of the Louis XIII shot. He was like, I never thought anyone would go buy that, but boom, they buy it, and they're laughing to the bank, right? So when you think about pricing psychology, is when you have your price, a lot of people have the rule of three, good, better, best. That best, they don't really expect a lot of people to buy that. That's going to be less 10% or less. Right? So, but if you have it high price point, it helps anchor that psychology around the people in the who are going to be your buyer set. All right. So we're going to do another exercise. So this is going to be collaborative. You are the decision maker to buy some PR services for your company.
Right.
Right? It could be software, but I just chose PR because that's my day job, right? So you are tasked with buying it. And then on top of that, you've diligenced a lot of PR companies, kissed a lot of toads, and you asked for a quote from my company, Delight Labs.
Yeah.
All right?
Just use it for
And I don't know this, but you think that you're pretty serious about Delight Labs and the presentation, and that all things being equal, that would be your front runner. Now, I said, well, okay, thank you for letting me know. Let me go give you a quote. So I go back here, get you my quote, and then I send you a quote. Okay, so it's $20,000. So you have a job to do. On the next screen, there's going to be a QR code, and it's a survey. And I want to know if you're going to give me all 20,000, or are you going to counter? And if you counter, how much are you going to counter? Because if you counter with $1, obviously I'm like, dude, are you guys like joking? Right? So you have to make a decision. All right, so we've got the other 3 tables back, and this is the exercise that we're going to do together. Is you are a decision maker to buy PR services for your company. So you work at a bigger company that's affording PR services, and the only reason I did that is because I do that, so I just thought the context would be easy. You've diligenced a lot of PR companies to date, and thus far, and you've asked a quote from Delight Labs, so you've asked me for a quote. And I don't know this, but we are your number 1 option, okay? And so I go back here, I'm like, oh, okay, you asked for a quote, so come up with my quote. And here's my quote. And here is what you're gonna do. You're going to let me know if you're gonna counter, because I'm your number 1 option, and if so, how much? All right, let's see, so let's take a look. So we had 2 groups. We had the 20,000 and the 19,730, and I try to be as similar as possible when I ask or introduce the exercise, and let's just see what happens. So for both of them, he took the numbers and he had the average. So this was the average retort back to my initial 20,000, was 14,400. The high was 20,000, thank you. The low was 10,000. Oh, man, I'm insulted. And the standard deviation was 3,000. So as you know from math back in the days, 2 standard deviations is like, you're just looking for like 95% will fall within. So you basically, what's the range of the difference? So let's look at this other quote, 19,730. So that's $270 lower. The average was 14,859.29. High, 18,000. Low, 9,730. Standard deviation, $2,886. Now, any reactions to that and why there would be a difference? So what is at play here? There's actually a great paper out of Columbia University that talks about this. And why is this that you see this difference? Even though this started lower, my outcome was better. Now, in reality, the outcome is even better in a randomized trial. Like this one is actually a little bit contrived. You can hear what's going on. But so in that trial, this is called the precision heuristic. And so Alejandro was right, is that there's a cognitive bias that when someone gives you a very precise number, they put a lot of thought into it. And so this is very true for consultative sales. Now, if you're buying SaaS solution, and I charge $19, if someone said like, hey, it's gonna be $19.13, it just would seem weird, right? So that may not work as well, but for consultative, my 50% on the consultative sales, this is extremely, extremely important, or your services or follow-on, is this precision heuristic, it comes across as more trustworthy as well. So and I remember going to this lecture about this when I was starting my first company, and this thing has made me so much money by following this. I think I still literally have it somewhere in my files. So what do you have to do? You got to avoid 0s and 5s at the end of your number, right? Just by removing that, you just made money. You want to use numbers like 3, 7, and 9. For example, 4270 is better than 4250. 4273 is even better. But here is the rub, is if you get too exotic with these numbers, you might have to justify it, where the client's like, hey, David, that's great. Can you help me understand the pricing so that if I want, I just out of my budget, but I want to partner with you, so what can we nip and tuck? Well, if I just did this and I don't have any justification, it comes off disingenuous. So you should have a framework about that. So oftentimes I will do my pricing. I don't usually do like super odd, weird numbers like this, even though that's more precise when I'm doing my proposals, because I want to be able to justify it. And oftentimes I do. Like this client, I gave a proposal, I don't know, it was like whatever it was, 14,975 or something like that. And then they said, hey, that's outside my budget. I need to reduce this. And I'm like, okay, well, that's going to be a 20% or I don't know, whatever, 18% discount, and it got to like $11,936 or something like that. But then it becomes more precise. So just knowing things like these, like the pricing psychology, the anchoring, and what to do and not do will make you a lot of money. And it's all margin.